Hello, everyone. Welcome to weekly governance security policies meeting. We don't have a long agenda today, but let's get started. Today is it like 5th of December 2023? Okay, so I wanted to briefly ask you about FCL. How are you doing? Any concerns, any questions, anything you'd like to change? Yeah, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think so. I have one issue assigned, which is about improving mainly the database performance of some of our workers, which resync security policies, or mainly the parts that take care of handling stuff for projects that are in a namespace. So if there's a security policy for a group, we often have to iterate through all the projects to update policies or run pipelines and stuff like that. And I have already have two small improvement MRs ready that should bring some improvement. And I think there's still a lot more things to find. And I think we can often work with batches a bit more, like process a batch of projects instead of iterating through every single project. So that's currently what I'm looking into.
Right. Thank you. Martin, I believe you're sharing.
Yes, as I was just writing the point in agenda. So just a few minutes ago, I opened the draft for with the proposal of how to optimize synchronization of approval rules after project authorization changes. So if you have, I would be glad for feedback if you have some opinion about that. Maybe I'm overlooking something. But it seems like this could be something potentially like an improvement in terms of performance.
Right. Right. We'll look into that. Yeah. So thank you everyone for jumping quickly to this FCL and like changing focus directly to work on that. I saw already a few MRs. I added them to our updates, daily update that we're providing. So that's amazing. Yeah, one thing, as I got this question multiple times, I believe. So this is okay, and we should work on FCL mainly this week and postpone anything that is not related to FCL to next week. We might not finish all tasks. This is absolutely okay. It's all about like fixing the most important ones and like making sure that we have the discussion in place to have some improvements. For example, we'll definitely not deliver everything related to read model, but we would like to use that time to reflect on what we should change and so on. And I believe this is a good timing as well to do that, because more or less we finished with items that are quite how to say, like, in the future we'll not have a huge features that will significantly change our architecture, from my opinion. Like, we'll have some improvements to what we already have, but not something that will directly change something. So like, for example, approval settings was one of the things that changed a little bit its architecture. And I know that, Martin, you've been looking into that, how we could improve the read model and get those information in this read model as well. So yeah, thank you everyone for jumping into that. And I mean everyone, because also like Alexander and Arthur are working on end-to-end tests and improving them. So this is great. Great. One thing I've noticed, I haven't been able to review that. Dominic, would you like to share your thoughts about the task that is assigned to you? Because I believe you'd like to change something. That's absolutely okay. I love it, because this is the best thing we can do, to not do something and do something instead that will introduce some value. So thank you for raising that quickly.
Help me out. You are talking about the tests.
Yes.
Yeah, I mentioned you guys on test because we have a spike for this. We wanted to add a test that puts assertions on the number of queries that the process can result policy and so on worker issues. And now in the future, we have this epic where we will move everything to the database, and then we will only partially sync outdated merge requests. So this will cut down the writes that we need to synchronize the policies, but I've looked into it and I cannot really come up with tests that will pass today. The only thing we can add are assertions that will be valid for the future implementation. So I'm not really sure what kind of tests. Maybe some of you guys have something in mind ad hoc. Otherwise, I mentioned you on the issue as well.
Maybe similar to the tests I'm trying to do. I created one draft MR as well. And I compared the number of queries when you add a user to the project and then try to call the worker. And when you change the policy. But yeah, maybe I can send to you after the meeting.
Sure.
Alrighty. Thank you for raising that. We'll definitely look into your comment and we'll decide what to do next. All right, Grant, you have something in mind.
Yeah, I mean, in the FCL issue, I was asking how best I can help and provide some input and support you guys. I think one of the ways is to think about kind of customer limits and how to help define like a performance testing environment. And so as you're talking about potential changes to the product and the architecture not changing too much, I think that it's also worth considering potential migration of customers from compliance pipelines and the volumes we might expect there. So I wanted to share here a link to Tableau. I know we're moving from Sisense to Tableau, and that's a little bit in progress. So one question is, do you all have access to Tableau? Are you able to get in and view these reports? I linked here it's a generic centralized dashboard that allows you to filter down into individual metrics. You can look at GMAL, SMAL, or you can go in and filter by PI. And then there's a particular metric that is relevant here to see the number of frameworks with pipelines. And so I can continue looking for which metrics are most relevant to get a sense of what we might expect in usage, assuming everyone has moved over from compliance pipelines to using scan execution policies in the future. But that's something to keep in mind, I think, is from a performance standpoint, increased usage could also affect our performance.
Great. So I cannot give you the answer right now. I mean, I believe we all have access to Tableau. We need to go to GitLab to Okta and look for Tableau SSO, and you should be able to log in. You don't need to create any account. It should be automatically created for you. If not, let me know. We'll work on the access to that. In terms of compliance pipelines and compliance framework, we had all issues that we had, all incidents were related to scan result policies. Anything related to scan execution policies, as the nature of the feature is a little bit different, I believe they will not generate any problem. That's my view on that, because the architecture for that, it's very simple. Like whenever you run a pipeline, you just need to like get a configuration and then apply it. And the amount of users will not change anything related to that. So I don't know, maybe others have different opinion, but yeah, I believe this is true.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess in that regard, if there's other data that would be useful to explore, I'm happy to go and try to help get what we can from at least like product metrics, or see where else we can dig up some data.
Yeah. As we're talking about metrics, should we add any additional metric to current like custom YAML usage or something like that, if that's possible? Like I know we're working that. We never been discussing any metrics related to any of our recently added features. So maybe that's a good opportunity to talk about that as well.
Sorry, and what was did you mention one example?
So should
like
we
usage?
add any new metric for custom YAML usage, for example? As we're replacing compliance pipelines, maybe we'd like to know in the future like how many people are already migrated, or something like that.
Right. Yep. So I'll note that down. Is there anything else that would be beneficial for the FCL, or were you also considering that, like metrics
Ah.
that we might need to add to help?
For FCL, I don't know.
No. Okay. right.
Yeah, probably not. I'm not sure if we can track those metrics as how many. I believe we have already have metrics that are telling us how many projects have some kind of policies assigned to them or approval policies. I just need to look into that, but as far as I know, we have database metrics that are checking that. So we just need to ensure that it's working as expected.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
All right. Anything else you'd like to discuss? All right. If not, then have a great day. See you during this week and see you next week as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you.